I see what ho, chaps and chappets, Game Chap and Birdie here.
Yes.
Yes, fellows, and I would say we are now discussing the question, is Super Smash Bros. On Wii U the best Super Smash Bros. Yet?
Well, most certainly, we're looking at the Super Smash Bros. Wii U that you know just come out there, and we are discussing whether it's the best yet, as you say, and of course there's been lots and lots of excitement about its release. We're very excited about it, and we're having a look at it and having a little review, are we not?
This is our review indeed, old boy. I dare say, of course, this is the latest entry in Nintendo's blockbuster fighting franchise, which started all the way back in 1999 with Super Smash Bros. On N64. But of course, fast forward to 2014, and expectations are high. Expectations for this title in particular were very high, with lots and lots of hype being built up, and the question is, does the game live up to all of what fans want it to be?
Well, most certainly, yes indeed. And no doubt if you're listening, you're very interested in this. So sit back and have a good listen and see what you think. And please put your comments in there, see what you'd like to hear what you say and what you feel about it, etc. so forth. Now, they've added some interesting new things, like the Smash Tour, for example. But just because they've added those things, it doesn't mean to necessarily say that it is a good gameplay game. So let's look at this.
That's right, old boy. Of course, the game is judged on what it actually does. And firstly, I think we have to take a look at the presentation and polish of the game, which is something that's very important and normally always shines through in Nintendo games. Now, have we got that same standard here, old chap?
Well, I think we have it to a certain extent, most certainly. It's got a very good interface, rather good menus, and good music. Now, arguably, they always have good music, but yes, it's well done, well bolted together, I think.
That's right, old boy. Evidently, Mr. Sakurai and his team have put an awful lot of work into this title. They've really worked and burned the midnight oil, and it does show. We've got a very, very satisfying package here with the usual Nintendo standard of mastery. Now, the menu design itself perhaps feels a little bit dated or broady in some areas, but it gets the job done and has some very nice touches. There's scrolling characters in the background, the nice sort of background behind the fighters on the select stage there with the pulsating and emanating sort of glow it produces. It's all very satisfying and really feels very, very solid, as you say, old chap.
Oh, most certainly. Now, of course, another very, very important thing for any game, especially this type of game, is, of course, the graphics.
The graphics, that's right.
Most certainly. Now, in 1080p, of course, when you've got the 1080p graphics up there, it looks absolutely excellent, I think. Very well done.
It's very appealing. Indeed, it can't be said anything otherwise, old boy. We really are looking at a large step up over Brawl here. Now, of course, the character models themselves may not be that much higher resolution than Brawl, but the overall package, the way it's presented, the way it hits the eye, really is quite stunning and has to be seen on a big screen in 1080p. It's very, very nice. There's a few jaggies perhaps in the 720p mode, but again, who really plays that these days? It's all about 1080p, you know.
Well, yes, it most certainly is. You've got a few blurry, low-res textures here and there, especially on the older stages, like Luigi's Mansion, and also the clapping characters on the match results screen, etc.
Yes.
But, you know, maybe we're just nitpicking there, but it's there nevertheless.
Yes, there's a couple of nitpicks. I mean, some characters still have two frames snapping mouths, as it were, when they talk. Also, some characters have a few clipping issues on the models, like Captain Falcon's scarf. Also, some returning stages are presented better than others. For example, Congo Jungle looks a bit dated now, being, of course, a 64 stage.
Yes.
You might expect that, I suppose, but the temple has been redone in HD and looks really superb, you know.
Well, most certainly. Now, looking at the particle effects, well, they look rather good, very good, and the overall appearance of the game is, well, certainly the sharpest yet of them all.
Certainly, old boy. The particle effects, the smashes, the strikes, the hits, the clashes, they're all superbly rendered. The trophies also have excellent detail and are well worth collecting.
Yes, most certainly they do. So it's scoring well on the graphics side of things, most certainly, and also on the presentation side as well. I don't think anyone can argue with that. Certainly better than anything we've seen before. But then, being on the Wii U, we expect that. I mean, it's been a long time since the last one.
That's right.
So, you know, we're saying it's good on the one end, but then we should really, I think, be saying, well, yes, we expect that. It's an expensive game, etc., so forth. We expect to see that.
Of course, old boy. Certainly they have had quite a high standard to live up to there. It's been a long time since Brawl, as you say, and I think the team have come through here. Of course, you have to say they're comparing themselves against other fighting games on the market, like perhaps Dead or Alive, which have very impressive graphics. But certainly, for the style of the game, we are seeing a very, very pleasing and well-presented package that certainly provides a lot of eye candy. Now, of course, the next topic we have to look at is the sound.
Well, most certainly, yes, the sound is important, and we have games, there are games out there where the sound's abysmal, but, you know, the sound on this one, yes, well, as we said, the music, very, very good, excellent even, yes. Now, well composed and provides a fresh spin, etc. on the old tracks, which is rather fun.
That's right, old boy, we have a huge array of music on offer, many, many new pieces, remixes of old themes. The main Super Smash Bros. 4 theme in particular is used many times, and of course it's quite pleasing there, well done. There's also new sounds for move hit effects and fighting mechanics, and these are generally very satisfying and fit the theme very well, in fact perfectly.
Well, yes, certainly they do, most certainly. Now, the older tracks that are on there are notably more MIDI sounding, as it were, i.e. lower quality, etc.
Some of them can be, yes, I think.
Yes, and some character voices are barely audible in their taunts, and Fox's new voice sounds a little, well, odd, I suppose.
That's right, a couple of complaints say indeed it's quite hard to hear what they're saying sometimes when you taunt, and Fox's new voice, as you say, lay on the master, it's a bit strange, you know, it doesn't quite sound foxy enough to me, but these are minor complaints, and of course the variety of music on offer can't be argued with, and provides an entertaining diversion to collect all the CDs in the game.
Well, yes, I suppose their voices are a little bit barely audible, especially when you're shouting at the screen and screaming, why did that happen?
Yes, but Captain Falcon can clearly be heard when he says, show me your moves!
Yes, he's okay, yes.
Yes.
So, most certainly, now, coming on from there to the gameplay. Now, gameplay, of course, is what it's all about. At the end of the day, this is what people are interested in. The sound and the graphics are nice and they add to it, of course, but the gameplay, once you're in it, is what you're concentrating on.
That's right, you are, old boy. Now, of course, there's a vast roster of 51 fighters, including me. That's the biggest Super Smash Bros. Roster yet, the largest number of fighters we've seen, and possibly more DLC on the way. So that's going to keep you busy for a very long time. And also, of course, updates to the game, patches, etc. and so forth, should address any balance issues which may arise, and for example, which may have arisen so far, like they just had a patch recently that nerfed some characters and buffed others. So I think we're going to be seeing more of that soon.
Well, that's a big... They're just cutting in there. Now, everyone will no doubt be thinking that. That is a big thing. As we said on one of the 3DS reports, I believe, if they're bringing this sort of thing in, it may have been on this one, but if they're bringing DLC and updates in, or not DLC, but updates in this matter, in this case, then there could be where these updates are changing the character's gameplay, etc., and upsetting people's the general way that they play, etc., and people have to relearn them, etc.
But perhaps that's a good thing, because it keeps the game fresh for the community, old chap.
Well, maybe, yes, but I can see people getting upset if they've learned a certain style of moves with a certain character and then they change it slightly, they've got to learn it again.
Well, boo-hoo, eh?
Well,
yes,
anyway.
It's certainly a valid point, old chap, yes. Now, of course, 46 stages. These provide a good variety of battlefields to play on. Many of course, are taken from older games like Melee and Smash 64 and Brawl.
Well, yes, certainly, and as you say, many taken from the older games now. This is an old favourite of Nintendo. They do tend to put older courses and things in. For example, Mario Kart, we can see the older courses in the newest version, etc. They like doing that. So there's some creativity with new stages there, but they've also borrowed from the old as they often do.
Yes, Elboy, 46 stages, that number of course is not all new stages, you do have many old favourites showing up, but not necessarily a bad thing. For example, many fans might be pleased to see the return of Congo Jungle, etc. and so forth.
Well, yes, perhaps. Now, the fighting system, it is faster than Brawl and slower than Melee.
That's right.
Yes, it's sort of somewhere in between the two, I suppose.
It strikes a balance, that's right. Now, the fighting system itself is fast, balanced and rewarding to play, offering a deep fighting game experience that goes far beyond a simple button-mashing exercise. Indeed, it may look on the surface like a masher, but of course, for those of you who are perhaps more seasoned with the game, you'll know there's a very, very deep amount of many layers and depth to Super Smash Bros. Of course, you have to understand the intricacies of each fighter and projectile users versus up-close fighters, etc. and so forth. HD graphics and reworked camera positioning makes fights easier to see. Very important.
Well, yes, that is very important, but I would still say we've still got the thing with this game where it tends to, when there's a lot of characters on the screen, it tends to be rather difficult to see what's going on in this zooming in and zooming out sort of effect that Smash Bros. Has always had.
Certainly,
so
yes.
That's the thing I've got to say about it. If only they could do something about that. I suppose it's difficult, but it's not the sort of thing we see in other games, so this is sort of unique to them in many ways.
It's Super Smash Bros. Yes, it does have this this facet where, of course, there's lots and lots going on the screen, there's 4 characters, items flying all over the place, the camera zooming in and out, so you really have to be on your toes, but of course, having a large screen and 1080p does help with that, I think, old boy.
Well,
now, of course, there's a very wide selection of controller options and customization on offer. This allows fine-tuning to suit your exact playing style, and the best, albeit most expensive, input method may still be the good old-fashioned GameCube controller with its lagless inputs. Now, that's something that will be important, of course, for serious players.
Well, most certainly, yes, the controller is important, and there's various ones you can use with this one, but as you say, the GameCube controller option seems to be, from what we can see in the community, or hear, the best at the moment. Of course, you need a special adapter to use it, I believe.
That's right, a rather pricey adapter.
Which means you're, as you say, having to pay out.
Having to pay for the controller and the adapter, which of course only works with Smash Brothers, I understand, so there's some considerations for that to take into account.
And
now,
would it, I'm just chipping in here,
yes.
Perhaps it would have been a nice idea, since the game's so expensive, to just just chuck a controller in with it, like in the old days. Did they do it with Mario 64? I think they did.
I don't think they did, actually, old chap.
they?
No.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, online is, of course, a very playable and enjoyable mode. This is the online meat and potatoes of the game that many people will be using each day.
Yes.
Lag does pose an issue, I must say, with particularly close fights often being decided by whoever has the lag-vantage, as it were. Now,
Yes.
there are some questionable online features, I have to say. For example, you'll get bans dished out to you automatically if you engage in unsporting behaviour, like, for example, disconnecting from a very laggy match, or, for example, killing yourself too many times. So, and also, I understand you can only taunt so many times, so there's many steps that Nintendo have taken to control people's behaviour online, which is quite unusual, but nonetheless that's the way they're doing it, and hopefully it will help prevent, in any case, some of the griefing we've seen in past Smash Bros. Outings.
Well, yes, well, hang on, just have a look at that a minute. The lag. Well, yes, I've played there online, and I've seen some of the lag. I've certainly seen lag online, and I think that really it shouldn't be there. Now, we know that lag is caused by 100 million different things, but those servers should be rock solid, and lag should not be a problem, because if you're playing a game, then the last thing you want is lag. You're going to lose very easily if it's against you, etc., so forth. And also, of course, as you say, this whole banning thing, well, I think it's fair to ban people if they're hacking, then that's fine. But I think just banning them for doing certain things within the game too much is rather questionable, in my opinion.
It's a bit extreme, I think
it is.
I mean, certainly I think they may have to review their policy on that one. They might, for example, say they no longer do that sort of thing, but certainly for now, banning is something to consider if you do plan on going online, though. It's rather strange. You've got to beat your foes and the bans, you see. But
Yes.
Anyway, now, of course, indeed, as regards the stages, For Glory mode is, of course, the competitive mode on the game, which pits you one-on-one, or with up to 4 players, fighting with items turned off. Now, if you play one-on-one For Glory, you have to, of course, consider that it's only final destination with no items. Now, of course, this does mean that some types of characters, like Little Mac and projectile users, may have an advantage due to the way fat stages work, but, of course, For Glory stages on the Wii U version appear to be a bit smaller, I'd say, than on the 3DS version, meaning that this may not be so much of a problem, because, of course, if it's more close quarters, then the camping and the projectile using, etc., and so forth, is less of an issue.
Well, yes, I suppose it is. So that's an interesting part that they've added to that. Now, just looking at the main fighting game mode, well, it's superbly crafted, we think, and has endless potential, with old modes like Special Smash, Item Switch, Timed and Stopped Battles, all making a return. Now, I did say old modes there. You see, could they perhaps have introduced something new there?
Well, I think they have otherwise. Certainly, the staples, as you say, of the series are present and correct. We've also got new modes there, like Smash Tour and event matches. Now, of course, the event matches return from Brawl, but Smash Tour is quite new. This is a bit like it's a party game of some sort, old chap. You see, there's no adventure mode in this outing of Smash Bros. At all. The single-player adventure component is gone. But we do have this Smash Tour party mode, which is, I think, it has a bit less sparkle, I'd say, than the main game worldwide. It's certainly there and playable, and indeed very good for casuals. But of course, indeed, it's, I suppose, like a bonus, old chap. Now,
Well, yes, it is a bit of a bonus, to be honest. Hardcore Smash Brothers players aren't going to be playing that. I think it's just something that's there you can fiddle with if you want to.
with Grandma, maybe, I suppose.
Oh, yes, with Grandma, that's right, yes.
Other new modes include the ability to play stadium events like the home run contest with your friends, and the all-important new 8-man Smash is here. Now, this is, of course, a rather exciting first for the series. At the moment, currently, it's offline only, but it is nonetheless a very fresh spin on the old classic fighting game.
Well, it most certainly is an interesting one there, the 8-man Smash. But once again, I'm coming back now to how it looks when they're all on the screen. It's jolly hard to see what's going on, and you're zooming in and out. So this is, I've already said this, but I'm coming back to it. It's a criticism that I'm putting out that I think they should be able to do something about. And it's still there, still in the game. It's always been in Brawl.
I suppose it does indeed come down to how you play the game, whether it's one-on-one or 4 players. And then, of course, many serious and pro players of this game will actually play only one-on-one.
Yes.
With the rare team battle thrown in, so perhaps not so much of an issue, depending on how you use it, I say.
Yes.
Now, of course, as said, there is no adventure mode, which is a break in tradition since Melee, but the classic mode is present in a reworked form. And also, there's a new Master Orders mode, which sees you taking challenges from the Master Hand or the Crazy Hand himself.
Aha, so this is some sort of challenge thing, is it?
That's right, old boy. So adding some depth to the game, there's also other things you can do like Trophy Rush and, of course, the Stage Builder, which is much better this time round. So really, they've poured a lot of effort into making sure there's a good depth of content to get your teeth into.
Most certainly, yes. It's not a cheap job. They haven't rushed through it. You can see that all the things we've just covered there are in place. And to be honest, for what the game is, there's possibly better. I think there are better graphic fighting games out there. But this is unique to Mario feel and all the rest of it, and very much Nintendo. And I think with their style and their niche of the market that they're dealing with, they've done probably one of the best things they could do with it. In terms of gameplay, sound, graphics, etc.
I think so, and I think when you say graphics, you have to, of course, consider what you're looking at. Are you looking for realism or cartoon effects or Nintendo? And I think,
yes.
If you say you're looking for the sort of style that Smash Brothers is, you can't really argue with what they've done, old chap. It really is very impressive to the eye, and certainly there's a lot of eye candy, as I say, on offer here.
Well, most certainly, yes. They've done a good job. This will be certainly one of their big flagship releases for a very long time, I think.
I think so.
Not with Donkey Kong they had last time. It didn't really go off as well as they thought. This is a big title, and there's a lot of people interested in it, and rightfully so.
And I think they'll be looking to shift a lot of Wii U units, certainly, with this particular game. And of course, Mario Kart marking their two biggest multiplayer franchises. And certainly, a lot of what their hopes are riding on this game. It has to be good, and I think they've really done a good job in bringing Smash Brothers up to date in 2014.
Well, most certainly, yes, of course. And with the talks or the rumours or the sort of whispers about possibility of DLC coming in for this game, then of course, the updates which could improve certain parts of it. Perhaps if there's problems, glitches, or whatever that are uncovered, then that's a good thing. And of course, the DLC can add to the fun of it and keep this thing alive for quite some time.
I think so, old boy. So there you have it, Super Smash Bros. For Nintendo Wii U Vales. It's finally here. What do you think? There's our take on it. Certainly, the gameplay, graphics, and sound are all there, and small flaws don't take away from this game being one of Nintendo's best titles, and in our opinion, the best Super Smash Bros. Yet, you know.
Oh, this is a big thing to say, but it looks like it is. Now, once again, as we said, what do you think? Is it the best, or do you think one of the older ones was better?
Was Melee better? Was Brawl better? Was 64 better? Or is this the best? What do you think, fellows? That's been our take. Thank you kindly for joining us with Game Chat and Birdie talking Super Smash Bros. And we look forward to seeing you once more on the next exciting idea, guys. Until then.